Hi, friends. Happy November. Happy almost full moon. Happy almost Pluto in Aquarius. Thank God. I cannot wait for this Pluto and Capricorn chapter to be complete. How are you all? It's so lovely to see you. I took a little bit of a hiatus. Well, not a little bit. I took a hiatus in October because I just needed to get quiet and get clear and get still. There's so much going on in my own life, so much going on the planet right now, in the world out there. So October was a month that I just took to get really quiet and still. I'm, still here at my dad's place, taking care of him and helping him in whatever way I can. So there's a lot right now in my life, and I just wanted to be super, super clear on what it was that was being asked of me, how it is that I want to step forward, what it is that is sustainable and practical and inspiring and fulfilling for me, and how can I serve, how can I help, how can I support you. And I've gotten some clarity. And today's tarot pull, I'm going to be using, I just got this new deck a couple of months ago. I think last month I got it, and I've only used it once. I'm currently doing my 2025 tarot forecast. They're on the link tree in my bio if you want to book one. They're only available for a limited time, and we look at the whole year upcoming for you next year, just giving you an overview of what's on tap for you and what potentials are currently active. Anyway, I used this deck for the first time with one of my clients a couple days ago. And I love this deck, so I'm going to be using it with you today. And what we're going to be doing is pulling some cards to give us some, hey, Aaron, give us some insight. Hey, Angela, oh my God, long time no see, friend. Give us some insight on what's going on right now. We've got the full moon coming up this Friday, which, by the way, I have a gathering for that coming up on Friday. There's also the link to that on my link tree, the Eventbrite, the full moon gathering entitled Closing the Door, because we also have Pluto moving into Aquarius finally. And it will not return for another 240 something years to Aquarius. So this last gasp of Pluto and Capricorn through the 18th is really, really putting the screws on us, so to speak. There is some pressure. Let me know if you're feeling that pressure. But, I think the way that we can choose to see it is through one of two lenses. We can see it as a disempowered perspective of something is happening to me. Oh my God, poor me. Oh my God, I'm helpless. Oh my God, I'm powerless. Oh my God, these things are happening to me and I'm just sort of ducking and covering. And I understand that perspective. Or we can say, okay, this is an opportunity for me to get clear, for me to get real, for me to get honest. And we're going to chat just briefly about the energies right now before I pull some cards. But I love that, Michaela. It is a still point. That's a great way to look at it. We're in this inflection point between the in-breath and the out-breath. And this full moon in Taurus coming up this Friday, we have Taurus, which is a very grounded, sensual, earthy energy. Taurus has a tendency to move pretty slowly. It's very practical in its energy and its perspective, but it's also very sensual. It's ruled by Venus. So Taurus really is about what is my relationship with the things that I need in my life? What is my relationship with pleasure and sensuality and, indulgence and luxury? What is my relationship with that? We're also in Scorpio season, which is ruled by Pluto. It's one of the planets that rules Scorpio. And Scorpio and Pluto are all about the death and rebirth, all about alchemy and transformation, all about the hidden underworld, the things that are invisible and that we don't see. And right now with Pluto and Capricorn, Capricorn is that very practical taskmaster energy. Here's how I see it. Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to, that era for 20-something years is starting on the 18th. Pluto was in Aquarius briefly earlier this year, and then it retrograded back into Capricorn where it's been and will continue to be until next week on the 18th when it finally moves into Aquarius for good. Pluto in Aquarius is the future. Pluto in Aquarius is your future self coming home to meet you. It's basically the self that you have been working so hard and so diligently to become is finally arriving. And so Pluto in Aquarius is saying, okay, I'm here. I'm the future you. Are you ready? Have you prepared yourself for me? Has everything been done to ensure that we can just hit the ground running? And that's what Pluto in Capricorn is. Pluto in Capricorn is the practical, realistic, pragmatic taskmaster. Capricorn is ruled by the Devil card in the tarot. And the Devil card is all about the physical things in our earthly realm that we give our power to. It's about addiction. It's about compulsion. It's about where do I believe myself to be powerless and where do I give my power and my energy away. And so I think that with Pluto and Capricorn, it's like that final checklist. I've really been thinking of it as like the final walkthrough in an apartment when you're moving house. And you have that final day where you're like opening all the drawers, opening all the closets, opening all the cupboards. Okay, is all my stuff done? Is all my stuff gone? Have I, called my utilities to transfer them to my new address? Is my, am I going to get my deposit back? My landlord is coming in and we're going to walk through. Have I cleaned the place? Have I gotten the place ready to just fully let it go in the best shape and the best condition that I can so that I can move into the next chapter free from attachment to the past? So if you're finding this intensity with Pluto and Capricorn and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, see it as an opportunity to just get your shit sorted. It's getting everything organized so that the next chapter of Pluto and Aquarius, which is about your future projection, your future self, and your future experience, that can be free and unencumbered by the past. So what are the things that still need your attention? And Pluto in Capricorn is very practical. I've been having this, hey Rio, I've been having this experience with a lot of my clients lately. And one of the things that I'm seeing is give yourself permission to be dissatisfied. Give yourself permission to say, I don't want it like this anymore. Give yourself permission to look out on the world and to feel a little uncomfortable or a little upset or maybe even a little disturbed. If you're looking over and seeing the suffering that's happening over across the ocean on the other side of the world, if you're seeing the suffering that's happening here in our country, in the US, anywhere that you see suffering or struggle on the planet, you can see that from a disempowered perspective of, oh, I'm helpless, what can I do? Or you can use the suffering of another as an inspiration, as an impetus to say, what part can I play in creating a world where that kind of suffering is minimized, where that kind of suffering doesn't have to happen? So when you see someone struggling or suffering, don't let it disempower you. I got an email from a client this morning and she was saying, I see myself in this privileged position and what can I do? Those who are not as privileged as I am. And there was this sense of her feeling guilty. And I said, privilege is no reason to feel guilty. Privilege is something that you can use as a tool to help other people who you perceive do not have the same status or the same access to the same resources that you have. So don't feel guilty or feel bad about your current life. You chose your life just as every being has chosen their life from the soul's perspective. And sometimes a soul comes in to have a really difficult, challenging experience that we would look at and say, oh my God, that person is suffering and struggling. Sometimes the soul chooses that to be a source of inspiration so that those who are in a position to help and to support will be inspired to say, what can I do to make sure that kind of shit doesn't happen anymore? What can I do to become one with my sovereignty, to become one with my power, to become one with my authority so that I can have an influence and an impact on the planet and on my own life where that kind of shit doesn't have to happen anymore. So Pluto and Capricorn, give yourself permission to ask for more. Give yourself permission to ask for something else. Give yourself permission to say, I don't want that anymore. That's not okay for me anymore. I want something different. I want something different in my own life. I want something different for the world. And if you ask it through the lens of service, right? Source, send me what I need so that I can be of support. Send me what I need so that I can be of service. Send me what I need so that I can help other people. And that is the magic formula to give yourself permission to be frustrated or dissatisfied or a little bit kind of sideways with your life, and then use that frustration as fuel to create something else, to create something new and demand more of yourself and of others. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to pull some cards. I'm going to draw a card that represents your energy, which would be the collective energy. Obviously, this is not a personal reading. If you're interested in a personal reading, the link tree in my bio has access to my booking calendar, and you can book private tarot sessions there. But we're going to draw 3 cards that represent kind of what's happening. So what's coming in, what's here, and what's leaving. Then we'll draw a card to represent your energy, the collective energy, and then we're going to draw some cards that represent a couple of other aspects that we'll ask about. And the full moon gathering that I have coming up this Friday, the link to that is in my bio. It's called Closing the Door. And man, this is going to be a powerful opportunity to harness the magic of what's happening astrologically right now. And this full moon of Taurus is giving us a beautiful portal to step into the new future self reality, the future self chapter, as we are setting the table for Pluto and Aquarius, the future self, to arrive. Basically, the future you is traveling back through time to this moment to say, hey, I'm here. Are you ready? What are we going to do? What are we going to create? What kind of magic are we going to wield and weave for ourselves and for the world? All right, so here we go. Got to shuffle. This card do not want to shuffle. This is a new deck. So it's still a little bit slippery. Let me just close my mouth and focus on the shuffle for a sec. Okay, there we go. We're going to give them a cut real quick. How are y'all doing? How are y'all faring in the intensity of the world out there? Give me an emoji or tell me in the comments what's up with you and how you're feeling. Because I know a lot of people are feeling kind of upside down and sideways. And that makes sense. But you also can remember that you create the external world. You define the external reality, not the other way around. The external reality does not define you. You define it. Okay. There we go. Okay, your energy. What's coming in, what's here, what is leaving, and then what is hidden and what is the medicine. All right. So the energy that represents your energy, or the card that represents your energy right now, is Ace of Wands reversed. You know, I get the sense that, Ace of Wands, the wand is really, an ace is always a new start. An ace is always a new beginning. And I get the sense that there's this desire for a new direction. You know, the Ace of Wands, the wand is about your passion and your purpose and your direction. It's fire energy. It's masculine energy. It's the assertive self that takes the wand and says, I want it to go there. You know, I always think of, when I see the wands, I always think, especially the Ace of Wands, I always think of Harry Potter and, going to school to learn how to use your wand. The wand is not the magic thing. The wand is the thing that focuses your magic and tells the energy where to go. You are the vessel for the divine spark to move through. So when you remember that the wand is simply a tool, but it is not the source of your magic, source is the source of your magic, and the wand is what you do with it. The wand is the pen that you use to write the story, or the paintbrush that you use to paint the picture. So the Ace of Wands reversed, it tells me that there's this sense of, there's something new I want to do, there's something else I want to do, there's this new direction, there's something burning inside of me, and I can even feel some congestion or some constriction right here in the throat, or in the, sort of the throat chakra area of like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, there's something else I want, there's something different, but I can't quite identify it. That's okay. Sit with the feeling. Be present with it and curious about it and shine your love on it. And rather than judging it or forcing it or trying to make it be something, just love it. Imagine that you have a garden and you've planted all these beautiful fruit trees, and there are fruits on the tree that aren't quite ripe yet. And you might be really, really excited to consume that fruit and to taste the bite of that first apple or whatever it is that you've been growing, but it's not ready yet. You don't go out and shame the fruit. You don't go out and judge the fruit. You don't go out and tell it that it's a piece of shit, stupid tree. Why aren't you ripe yet? No, you go out and you love it. And you say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to eat you. You're going to be so delicious. Look how beautiful you are. I see the tree with its beautiful branches, and look how strong the trunk is, and look how big it is, and look at the beautiful leaves. And I love the flowers that I saw just a couple of months ago that are now turning into this beautiful, delicious fruit that's going to feed me and my family and my friends and my community. Celebrate the fact that it's ripening. Celebrate the fact that the seed has been planted. Celebrate the fact that it's on its way, because in reality, not having it is what inspired you to want it in the first place. Do you feel me? The hunger that you feel in your gut is a beautiful thing, because it's what inspires you to go out and eat, or go out and cook something, or go out and make the money that you need to feed yourself and your family. So when you see the Ace of Wands reversed, it's easy again to go into victim mode of like, oh, why isn't it here yet? Oh, I'm so frustrated. Oh, I'm so blah, blah, blah. Stop whining. Stop it. understand that the desire for something is the first step in having it. So rather than put pressure on yourself trying to force the fruit to ripen before it's ready, take a breath, take a beat, exhale, and connect with that feeling within you and say, okay, what is it that you want me to know? What is it that you are ripening into? Be in contemplation with it. Shine your light onto it. Encourage it. Nurture it. Be a steward for it. Yes, I love that, Nicole. Your tomato plant finally starts showing fruit. Everything in its time and in its season. All things have a natural cycle and rhythm that govern them, so work with that. So Ace of Wands reversed is saying, yeah, there's something growing. There's a seed that's been planted and you might not see it yet. Don't let it become a source of frustration. Let it be an opportunity for you to shine your love, to shine your light, to shine like the sun on it, because that's what ripens the fruit, is the sun, not the storm clouds, right? So don't go into this negative perception of the fact that it's not here yet. Celebrate the fact that you feel something in you that is burning for expression. Sit in loving, active contemplation with it. Maybe your meditation is you just find that, like I was saying, I can feel this tension right here. So what I would do is, if I were you, I would sit in meditation in the morning and I would just focus on this feeling. I would focus on the sense of tightness. I would focus on the sense of frustration. I would focus on the desire to know what this is. What are you? What is this? Please show me. Please tell me. Please reveal to me. Please share it with me. Love it. Nurture it. Shower your love on it. Like if a little kid is learning to walk, you don't say, get up, the kid falls down. You don't chastise the kid for not knowing how to walk yet. You know that the child, the beautiful, precious child, is in the process of learning how to walk. And one day it will know how to walk effortlessly and it won't ever question it. And it will be something that just happens naturally. So that's what the Ace of Wands as your energy is saying. Ace of Wands reversed as your energy is saying is create space for that thing to flourish. Create space for it to grow and to ripen. Don't turn it into a conflict and a struggle and put pressure on when are you going to ripen, when are you going to ripen. No, go out there, love that fruit as it ripens, and know that one day, in much less time than I think you could even perceive, you're going to go out there and see, oh my God, today's the day that I get to pick the fruit. Now I get to bake with it. Now I get to cook with it. Now I get to share with it. Now I get to celebrate it, right? So Ace of Wands reversed, see it as a good thing. So the energy that is coming in is Three of Wands reversed. Again, this feels a little bit like things are unclear, a little bit like I'm not really sure which direction I'm going. That's okay. Oftentimes what really stands out to me with the Three of Wands is that we're looking at the person's back. The person is facing out into the vista of their future. I think that this is really talking about Pluto in Aquarius energy, even though the wand is fire energy. It really does feel to me like we're talking more about the passion and the fire that the wand represents, and the desire to wander, the desire to journey, the desire to proceed down the path and to know clearly where we're going. That's coming. That's coming. I think what I get the sense is that there's still a little bit of work for you to do, and these other cards do illustrate that. There's still a little bit of work for you to do in terms of getting clear on exactly what it is that you want and how you want to proceed in service, how you want to proceed in support of the life that you dream of and in support of the kind of world you want to live in. So Three of Wands reversed as what's coming in for you. Again, don't see the lack of clarity as cause for frustration. See it as an opportunity to dive more deeply into your compassion and your patience and your love and your willingness to sit with the questions, to sit with the part of you that is so desperate to know, and just trust. You're here because God wanted you to be here. You are here because Source wanted more than anything to know itself through you. You are worthy because you are. So don't question that for a second. Again, don't let a lack of clarity become evidence that you're unworthy or that you're never going to get it or that it's never going to happen. See it as an opportunity. It's like getting a packet of seeds. That is nothing but opportunity. You've got a packet full of possibility. And when you allow yourself to plant those seeds and prepare the space and do your diligence in creating a hospitable environment for those seeds to sprout, then they will. So Three of Wands reversed as what is coming in is saying, just trust it. Just have faith. It's like when I used to bake with my granny and she would never set a timer. She just always knew by the smell in the air that whatever it was that we were baking was ready. And I was always so amazed by how she would just know, oh, I can smell it. The pie is ready. The biscuits are ready. The cookies are ready. And she was right every single time. And she would just pull them out and set them on the counter. We would wait for them to cool and then we would feast on whatever goodie we had baked. So see the Three of Wands reversed as almost like you can smell it in the air, like you know it's almost ready. You know it's almost time, and just let it arrive. So the card that represents what is here for you now, love this. King of Pentacles. You know, this to me is supporting what I just said about what you want is on the way. And just because it's not here doesn't mean you can't have it. And King of Pentacles, this is earth sign energy, right? We were talking about Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn. We're talking about Taurus, the full moon in Taurus this Friday, which by the way, the link is in my link tree in my bio if you want to join the gathering this Friday evening. So King of Pentacles, you know, the king is the ruler. The king is that masculine, benevolent force that knows where to go, what to do, and why to do it, and when. And the King of Pentacles is the pentacle is your earth sign energy. It's all about your worldly possessions, your stuff, your body, your relationships, your physicality, and your human experience. Now, interestingly, even though this is the king, which is that masculine assertive energy, the earth sign and earth energy is a feminine energy. So the king is the ruler, but he is in service of the feminine. So the King of Pentacles is about tapping into that feminine desire of this is how I want to feel. This is the kind of life I want to live. This is the vibe and the energy and the flavor of my life and how I want to live it and the experiences that I want to have from a feeling, energy, and emotion perspective. And then the King of Pentacles comes in and says, okay, if this is what you want, then this is what we need to do. So the King of Pentacles is that practical masculine application of our creator energy in service of the feminine desire. Do you feel me? Is this making sense? We live in a physical reality. A physical reality requires a physical experience, which requires physical action. If you want to paint a painting, you got to pick up the brush and put it on the canvas. If you want to write a story, then you need to pick up the pen and put it on the paper. If you want a different body or a fitter body or a leaner body, you got to get up and make the physical choices that support the desire that you have for something else. So King of Pentacles, as what is here right now, is asking you to step into rulership of your experience. Are you in charge of your life? Are you co-creating and collaborating with God or spirit or the universe or whatever you call that divine force? Or are you coming at it with your hands on your hips from a sense of entitlement, a sense of fear and scarcity? Or are you saying, okay, Spirit, I want to be a vessel for abundance and well-being. I want to be the physical avatar of a life that is well-lived. That's what I want. So how do I do that? How do I call myself into action? How do I become the king of my own pentacles? Your pentacles, again, are your things. It's your stuff. It's your possessions. It's your body. Are you in charge of that? Are you claiming ownership of that? Are you in authority for your physical experience or not? And if you're not, there's no cause for judgment. That's no cause for panic or victimhood. That's just saying, okay, I got some work to do. I got to get practical. You know, personally, one of my big things that I've been dealing with right now is my relationship with money. And what I realized was, you know, I went through this, I can't remember his name, Max something. He's a hypnotherapist. He's really lovely, really wonderful. And someone had sent me a link for a hypno session that he had done, like a group offering for working in your relationship with money. And he asked this question of, if you were in a relationship with money, what would money say about being in relationship with you? And that was a really powerful moment for me to consider, okay, if money was my boyfriend, what would money say about me? And I had to come to some really, really deep realizations, not all of which were comfortable, not all of which were easy to look at. But what I realized is I only really ever showed up when I needed something from money. I only ever really showed up and dealt with money when I was in panic or in crisis or in fear mode. I had never been entirely clear with money about what exactly it was that I needed from it and what exactly it was that I wanted from it. So I had to get really, really clear. I went through through my bank statements and I wrote down every single penny that I needed every single month to have a life where I was committed to taking care of my financial responsibilities. Then I went through and I looked at all the things that I wanted. So there's what I need and then there's what I want. So I finally had a number that I could say to money and say, this is what I really need from you. Because think about relationships. If you're not being honest and clear about what you need from somebody, how can they ever give it to you? So King of Pentacles is saying, you are the king. You are the ruler of your life. But have you been really, really clear about exactly and precisely it is that you need and that you want and what you require and what you expect? Or have you just sort of been passively thinking like, oh, it'll just magically happen. I'm a good person, so spirit will just send me money. I'm a good person, so my bills will just be taken care of, maybe. But you know what is even more powerful is to give yourself a very clearly defined target, a very clearly defined set of parameters so that you can say to money, to God, to the universe, to yourself, this is what I need. This is what I require. This is the reality of my situation. So that's where you are right now with King of Pentacles energy. So now what's moving out? Four of Cups. And I love this because Four of Cups often speaks of contemplation. Four of Cups often speaks of kind of being in the heart and being in that place of really deep introspection and communion with what does my heart really want? What is it that I really envision for myself? What are the desires that I have? But Four of Cups is not always about action. Four of Cups is, the number 4 is very stable. So you may be very solid in your sense of what you want, but are you really stable in terms of doing what you need to do to get it? So what's on the way out is this chapter of dreaming and visioning and desiring. What's on its way out is, because I get it, and the cup is the heart. The cup is the element of water. Again, it's a feminine suit and a feminine energy. So you've been in this space of feeling what you want, desiring what you want, and really envisioning what you want. And that is active in its own way, but that isn't necessarily putting pen to paper and making the decision. That isn't necessarily getting up and going and having the conversations and doing what you need to do to make it happen, right? So Four of Cups is saying, as what's moving out is you are ending this period of contemplation. You are ending this period of getting really, really clear on what is it that my heart is really asking for. And in a moment, in not too much time, I would really say with this full moon coming up, and also with Pluto moving into Aquarius, you are going to be into a space of like, okay, it's time. Let's get up, let's move, let's do. Astrologically, we've been very much in this earth and this water energy over the past few years. And many of the outer planets, the big heavy hitters, are moving into fire and air sign energy, which is active. It's forward moving. It is the masculine expression. It is assertive. It is getting up and doing what I need to do to fulfill what my heart wants. So let yourself be, if you still need to be in that clarity space, in that defining space, in that dreaming and desiring space, that's okay, but don't get too comfortable there. Because the feminine without the masculine is just a bunch of desires without ever doing anything. And the masculine without the feminine is taking action, but I don't know what I'm acting in service of. I don't know why I'm out here making the money. I don't know why I'm out here working 15-hour days. I don't know why I'm out here, busting my butt to bring the resources to myself and to my family. So that's why we need both. So when you're in a feminine space of desiring and dreaming, that's beautiful. But at some point, you're going to have to move into a masculine space of choosing and doing, and you're always going to be choosing and doing in service of the feminine desire. Yeah? So now we're going to look at what is hidden. And what we have here is justice reversed. Again, there's a lot of reversals coming up. Again, the 2025 tarot forecasts that I'm doing are live now on my booking calendar. You can find the link to book one in my link tree in my bio here. We draw 12 cards to look at your entire year. And a lot of the sessions that I'm doing right now for clients, a lot of reversals are coming up. And the way that I look at reversals is the tarot really just looks at and, mimics the cycles of life and the rhythms of life. And life is always in a process of becoming. You know, that's what Seth says in the book Seth Speaks. One of my favorite quotes ever is, you are always in a state of becoming. You're always becoming something else, right? Nature is always moving into one season, into the next, into the next. It's always about a period and a moment of transformation and a moment of moving on and outward. So when I see a reversal coming up, what that often says to me is, this is just you're in transition. So justice reversed as what is hidden is kind of the same energy and the vibe that I was getting from the Three of Wands reversed and the Ace of Wands reversed, is that things are still coming into fruition. Justice is that Libra energy. It's the scales. You know, Libra astrologically is the only sign that is represented by a physical object, the scales. Every other astrological sign is represented by a being of some sort, a human being or a beast sort of creature being. And the Libra is the scales. And justice is the card of Libra. So if we look at that as an avatar for the truth, that the scales of, justice are impersonal. It's not about, was I a good person? It's just, did I balance things that needed to be balanced? Did I listen to my heart and do my gut and make the choices that I needed to make to fulfill the desires that I have that are knocking at my own internal door? And so justice reversed as what is hidden is telling me that no matter what it is that's happening in your own life, no matter what it is that's happening on the world stage right now, it is in service of the well-being. The universe, life is not punitive. Life does not create at the exclusion of its own well-being. Life creates from a holistic perspective of always bringing things into balance. And the beautiful thing about the scales is, in order to bring things into balance, it doesn't necessarily need to be a big dramatic thing. It might, but one grain of rice can make the difference between scales that are in balance or not. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the justice card reversed is saying, let things come into balance. Allow things to move as they are moving and just watch them. This is what is hidden. The cycles and the rhythms that are much larger than any one individual or one country or one politician or one experience. Those cycles and rhythms govern it all. So no matter how big or scary or overwhelming something may seem, it is still happening within the field of the absolute. It is all happening within the field of the one. So no matter what, it is always governed by the well-being of spirit and source and that field of unconditional love. So justice reversed is saying, just because it doesn't look balanced doesn't mean it's not coming into balance. Just because you can't see clearly from your human perspective doesn't mean that this isn't for the well-being of all. So it's kind of like, get over yourself. It's kind of like saying, like, it's about more than just your perception. It's about more than just your individual needs. And yes, your pain is important, but it's not the only thing that's happening in the grand scheme of things. And you are responsible for tending to your needs and to your desires. And justice reversed is a reminder that sometimes all it takes is moving one grain of sand from one side to the other for things to come into balance. So that's what's hidden. Now we're looking at love. Oh my God, I love this. You cannot make this shit up. Your medicine is the Emperor. I love this. This is so magical because the Emperor is fire. The Emperor is fiery, like intense, very assertive, very strong, very powerful energy. The Emperor, when I look at the Emperor as your medicine, the thing that comes through for me almost every time I see the Emperor is, the Emperor is in charge of a lot of people. The kings and queens answer to the Emperor because the Emperor is in charge of the empire. The Emperor is that benevolent masculine force that has to make the choices and decisions for the well-being of his entire empire. Let's say the Emperor is in charge of 10 million people. There's no way in hell that the Emperor can make one decision that is going to make all 10 million of his subjects happy. Oftentimes, the lesson with the Emperor is you gotta be willing to be the bad guy. You got to be willing to be the one who says, look, I know that there's a lot of people who aren't going to like this, but I have to make this choice because this is the right thing to do. This is the most benevolent choice. This is the choice that serves the greater good for all of the people that I'm in charge of. Now apply this energy and that perspective to your own life. There are going to be parts of you that are not going to like the choices and decisions that you make. There are parts of you that will always want to be lazy. There are parts of you that will always want to be in victimhood powerlessness mode. There are parts of you that will always want it to be chaotic and disorganized and crazy. There are parts of you that thrive when things are hard. There are parts of you that love it when things are difficult because that's what it knows. There are also parts of you that know how to thrive and be successful and get it done and stand up and say, all right, people, speaking to yourself, all right, people, we got shit to do. If we want a real clear financial picture and we want a vibrant, healthy financial life, we got to get honest and real about our finances. Not all of you is going to like that decision, but who's in charge of you? You. You are the emperor. You are the one that has to say, well, you know what? I'm tired of being broke. You know what? I'm tired of not having enough money to make it through the month. You know what? I'm tired of having barely just enough. I want more. That's another piece of the emperor energy, is giving yourself permission to say, this is your medicine, giving yourself permission to say, I don't want this. I need something different. You know, I had a client who just booked a session with me recently, and she was saying that, you know, she loves her husband very much. She is very, very close to her husband. She's in love with her husband, but she's also dissatisfied. And she was finding herself looking at other people, thinking like, do I want to end this relationship? Do I want to be with somebody else? Do I want to step out of the fidelity of my marriage? And I was telling her, look, you have a right to say these things to your husband. You have a right to say, I love you, but I need more. I love you, but I want something else, right? I want romance. I want flowers. I want surprises. I want you to court me. I want you to seduce me. I want you to date me. I want you to be excited when I come through the door. You have the right to ask more from your life. You have a duty to ask more of yourself. So when you look around the landscape of your life, your kingdom, your empire, and you don't like what you see, there is one person who is accountable for that, you. There is one person who has the authority and the ability to change that, you. So the empire oftentimes asks you to get a little bit tough with yourself. The emperor asks you to draw some harder lines in the sand and say, look, I know you don't want to get up at 6 a.m. and go to the gym when it's still dark outside, but if you want to be in shape, you got to go to the gym. So you either go in the morning, you go on your lunchtime, or you go at night after work. You decide, but you got to go. Right? And then when you get to the gym, you say, well, I'm not going to get in shape just by staring at the equipment. I got to pick up the weights and I got to lift them. I got to get on the treadmill and I got to sweat and I got to move. So again, living in a physical reality requires physical action. A physical plane of reality requires physical choices and movement. So if you don't like what you have, use that dissatisfaction. Again, Ace of Wands reversed. Use that sense of like, oh, there's something else. There's something more. There's something different that I want to do and that I want to express. Use that as the fuel to say, okay, at some point I have to stop talking about being unhappy with my physical body and I have to go to the gym and do something about it. That's what I have for you, my friends. Thank you so much for spending time with me. It was so lovely to see you. You can find me on YouTube at Amar Energy. I just posted a new video a couple of days ago. You can check that out there. Again, if you're interested in private sessions or like a 2025 tarot forecast, those are available for a limited time and there are limited spots for those. You can book those through the link tree in my bio. Also, the full moon gathering coming up this Friday, the 15th, entitled Closing the Door, where we are going to be closing the door on the past, ending that chapter intentionally and saying, bye-bye, Pluto and Capricorn. It's time to open the door and set the table for Pluto and Aquarius, which is your future coming home to roost and saying, are you ready for me? Did you do your homework? Did you wash the sheets in the guest room? Did you put the towels out that I need to take my shower? Did you go buy extra food for me? Because I'm here for a while. We got Pluto and Aquarius for the next 20-something years. And Pluto, it takes 234 years to complete a total cycle through all of the zodiac. So we won't be back in Pluto and Capricorn for a long time. Personally, I think I'm going to live to be about 300 years old. So I will probably see Pluto and Capricorn again, but most of y'all won't. So thank you for watching. Mwah. Love you. Chat with you soon.